It's official, using Oddjob in N64's Goldeneye is cheating! Dust off your Nintendo 64's and pull out your weird three-pronged controllers because everyone's favorite late 90s console-based first-person shooter, Goldeneye, is back in the news. For those of you born after 1997, Goldeneye 007 was the video game adaptation of the James Bond film of the same name. At the time, video games based on films were notoriously pretty terrible, but Goldeneye broke the mold and gave us a really fun single-player campaign and, most importantly, one of the first great examples of four-person split-screen deathmatches on consoles. Goldeneye didn't just revolutionize how people viewed multiplayer on Nintendo 64, making competitive multiplayer modes a necessity for many of the console's later titles, but it also revolutionized first-person shooters on later systems. If you and your friends loved playing four-person Halo deathmatches on the original Xbox, GoldenEye 007 deserves at least a little credit for showing us how fun that could be. But we digress. Thanks to the folks over at the website Mel Magazine, fans got a massive oral history of the 21-year-old shooter's development, including the fact that the game's stellar multiplayer was developed by only two guys just a few months before the game's release. However, it was our friends over at the AV Club who spotted an interesting tidbit that set the internet ablaze like it was covered in proximity mines. Something we've all known for years. Something that we've all held against that one friend for years. But now it is official. Using Oddjob is cheating! Played by Harold Sakata in the 1964 Bond film Goldfinger, Oddjob was a short henchman known for assassinating the good guys with his razor-sharp hat. And while you weren't able to use his hat as one of the playable characters in N64's GoldenEye multiplayer, his character model was noticeably shorter than all the other playable characters in the game's multiplayer mode, which made him way, way, way harder to shoot. Because of that, just about every pre-match GoldenEye character select screen became an arms race to see who could select Oddjob first. Oddjob was so overpowered in GoldenEye's multiplayer mode that many players in tournaments went as far as to establish a no Oddjob rule, where gamers weren't allowed to select the character because his height advantage was basically considered cheating. Since the game's release, a common statement from Oddjob supporters was that if the developers put him in the game, it's not cheating to use him. And for over 20 years, the fan base has been divided, the ones who were lucky enough to select him and the three others that weren't. Which brings us back to Mel Magazine's oral history, where GoldenEye 007's gameplay and engine programmer Mark Edmonds went on the record to say it's definitely cheating to play as Oddjob. And if you just felt a shiver up your spine after hearing that sentence, it was most likely the combined feeling of every Oddjob defender being absolutely owned at the same time. Although I too am like, if they put it in the game, then it makes it okay to play. Lead environment artist Carl Hilton gave a little more context on all things Oddjob in the oral history, saying, "We all thought it was kind of cheating when we were playtesting with Oddjob due to his short stature. The auto-aim of the weapons goes above his head, but it was too much fun to take out and there was no impetus from any of us to change it. It's clearly become part of the culture and folklore of the game. I noticed playing Goldeneye as Oddjob was mentioned in Ready Player One, so ultimately I think it's fine." Edmonds was also empathetic to players that wanted to play as the character, saying, "We could have put something in to stop this blatant cheating, but why not just let players decide on their own rules?" So there you have it. Playing as Oddjob is technically cheating according to the game's creators, but you shouldn't let that get in the way of a good time. But what do you folks think? Do you think it's cheating to play as Oddjob in GoldenEye 007? What was your favorite multiplayer level in the game? And are there any other long-time video game mysteries you'd like solved? Personally, we want to know why they haven't released a sequel to the amazing 2002 GameCube game Eternal Darkness: Sanity's Requiem. Let's discuss. Be sure to like, subscribe, and mash that little bell to get notified every time we go live with the show or drop a new video. Like today with Animation Investigation, Hector Navarro is breaking down how Futurama and Disenchantment are secretly in the same universe. It's pretty brilliant. Check it out on the Nerdist YouTube page right now.